Scarlet's grabbing the headlines a bit last few days, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very pleasing to see, what our boys have been doing. I thought they all performed very well against Namibia. It's testimony to those individuals for all the work they've put in, and great to see so many Scarlets involved.
And another, obviously, Ken winning his cap. He did an operation turn of the year, and he was struggling a bit. It's a good reward for him.
Very good reward. I think Ken has had some outstanding form over the last couple of years. He's come back after his operation now, and he's starting to hit the form that he had about 18 months ago. So very pleasing to see, and he's a quality player. Yeah.
Perhaps if Scott Williams special,
Yes, Scott and John are similar in terms of their physical attributes, both very quick, strong players, and they're going to be a handful for anybody to deal with in the centre there.
When you see Scarlets starring for Wales like that, how do you feel, Nigel? Obviously you've been part of an academy system here that's brought these players through. What are the feelings in the region when you see what's happening on the international stage? Yeah,
we're very proud, to be supplying so many players to the international game at the moment. It's all happened very quickly, for us all, but there we go. It's great, it's an endorsement, I suppose, of the systems that we have in place here. Not only the academy, but certainly when those guys come into the first team environment, how their development is accelerated with the guys that we have working with them. So it's a big endorsement for a lot that goes on down here.
And you will recognise this choice as Warren Gatland and Stephen Jones when we still the two fly-outs to Wales. You've had that choice over the last 6-9 months. What are their attributes there?
Well, Steve has got an awful lot of experience. Mentally, one of the strongest players that I've ever come across. He can read a game well, and he'll always give you a level of performance. He's always confident. He's always talking. He's getting people involved. Very strong personality. Somebody you need as a 10 in your game, and Rhys Priestland, although he's developing that side of things, in terms of his technical ability, is second to none really. Very good technical 10, great kicking game, great range of kicks, and he's also a big threat in attack as well.
And the goal kicking is obviously something that might come down to, both losing goal kickers fear.
Well, yeah, but if you take Rhys, for instance, sort of 18 months, 2 years ago, he was going through a difficult phase here. We always knew that he would come through for us. We always knew that he was a quality player, but he was having a lot of stick. But we knew that he'd come through in the end, and he's learned, he's got a bit more experience, and now he's able to do it on the higher stage, for his country in the World Cup.
Yeah, final one for me just on that. George North, he just terrorised the defence, doesn't he? His development has gone through. He's played every game for Wales in this autumn. But what about his development?
Yeah, he's become a very important part of the Welsh team. He's almost a showing in that side, and this time last year George was playing his first game for the Scarlet, so it's been phenomenal really, for such a young player. But physically he has all the attributes, but also mentally, again he's very keen to learn, he's very coachable, and he's got great physical attributes, so an absolute brilliant player to be involved.
I talked with him centre. Is 13 a position he could go long term, do you think?
He's capable of playing there. He's played there at age grade, and yes, he could certainly play at 13, but I think one of his attributes is his ability to work hard off the ball and get himself into the game, and as a wing you've probably got a little bit more opportunity to do that, particularly if you're on the blind side, to get yourself into the game if your work rate is high enough, and George has certainly got that high work rate. I think his first cap against South Africa, I think, where he scored 2 tries, that was due largely to the fact that he worked his way into the game from blindside positions.
Matthew Rhys was on TV last night, Nigel, saying he's hoping for an end of October comeback. Is that realistic at the moment?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there was a lot of concern around Matthew's injury, and we weren't sure whether he'd have to have a disc removed or replaced, even, which would have meant a lot longer layoff for him. However, it was only a case of really shaving one of the discs to relieve the pressure on his nerve, which has meant a far shorter period of rehabilitation really, so it was 8 to 10 weeks after the op.
And Stods, what's the likely comeback date for him?
Well, his progression is going well. There's a lot of calcification around the bone, so we're pleased. The medical opinion is very positive, but it's still around about 6 months.
6 months from
the original injury. Yeah.
What have you learned for the weekend?
Yeah, we were disappointed on the weekend with the result and more so with the performance. I think, if you look at the game, just from a result point of view, I don't think either team played particularly well. However, I felt that we scored the only try in the game, and if we'd have had a reasonable level of success rate without goal kicking and hadn't given too many penalties away, we'd have won the game. That was the difference at the end of the day, with two teams trying to find their form. So that was a frustration in the result in its own right, but more so for me in the performance level. It was difficult, it was wet, but we're not using that as an excuse. We want to play rugby, and at the moment we're not playing rugby. So big emphasis this week has been on the players just to go out and play some rugby and put some width on the game and just start enjoying themselves again. And I don't know how that's crept in. Obviously we played in some difficult conditions, which has maybe meant that we've had to be a little bit more conservative on the field, but from my point of view, I just want to move away from that as quickly as possible and get back to where we were last year. And anybody who watched us last season will know that it's not the way we want to play. Absolutely it's not. I think there's been a little bit of difficulty as well and a lot of inexperience maybe behind the scrum, taking responsibility for running and managing our game, and we've got to do that as well. We've got to step up and say, yeah, give me the ball in my hands, we want to play. And we're going back to basics. It's not as if we don't know what we need to do to resolve the situation. It's quite clear in many ways. What I will say, I think our defence has stepped up a couple of levels from last year, which is great from our point of view, because you need to have strong defensive systems in order to win competitions, and that certainly improved with us. I thought our set pieces are going to really have to function for us, and I think we're starting to build a mentality for that now as a pack of forwards as well. So yeah, those are the things that come out of the game. Really, a huge amount of frustration. For me, more so from a performance, and we've never shied away from playing rugby. We will never do that as long as I'm responsible. And I feel that at the moment we're just not playing enough.
Contemplating changes?
Yeah, we have to freshen things up. We have to make some changes. For whatever reason, with accommodations that we've been working with, things haven't quite worked. So we have to bring other people in who can maybe do a different type of job for us.
Have you got options then in terms of points?
Yeah, we've got a few options. If you look at the squad, there are a number of options that we've got. They're not wholesale changes. No. I'm not panicking. We're disappointed, we're angry, we're annoyed with ourselves, but it's still early days in the season. We know where we need to look to move things on. And these boys, they're learning, they're getting better, and I expect to see us, if nothing else, on the weekend is to start playing rugby again and getting back to the traditional way that we play. The frustrating thing for me is that we played a lot of rugby last year, and our turnover rate was reasonably high in terms of other teams, but we sort of put that down to the fact that we were playing a lot more. In actual fact, our turnover rate's a lot higher now and we're not playing, so we need to get back to our style quickly and hopefully back it up now with what I believe is a far better defensive system that we've got, and a set piece, and certainly our scrum, which is starting to function for us.
That's important against a side like Treviso, all about from last year.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a very competent team. They play a reasonably limited game. Their 10 is a big part of the game. He'll kick into 2 areas, he'll kick goals, he'll drop goals. They'll try and trundle on with a pack of forwards, they'll try and wear you down. Up front, discipline is key. Again, we cannot afford to lose games through ill discipline, and in effect that's what we did against Leinster. Leinster had no mucks. Okay, they had a lot of players missing, so did we, but they're the European champions, they know how to win games, and ultimately we were just too loose to win a game that I believe we should have won. But we're going to go there, and the emphasis has been really not having any fear and going there, realising they're a good team, realising it's going to be competitive, but not being frightened to play either. And regardless of the last couple of results, this team, I do not want them to play with fear.
A couple of them, just Deacon Manning, we mentioned him already. He's he's here all the time, but he's part of the Fijian. What are you expecting from him in terms of the information he gives the Fijian team on Wales on the weekend?
Well, he'll know the players inside out. There's no shot, there's no doubt about that. Obviously through his time with us, and it depends on when his Scarlets gets picked. But also, we do a lot of analysis on the other Welsh region, so he'll know the team inside out. He'll know where their strengths are, and he'll know some of their weaknesses as well. So I think he'll have some very valuable information for them. How they can actually use that is another thing.
Josh Turnbull, Josh Turnbull has.
Well, Josh has picked up a shoulder injury. He's been managing a shoulder problem for the last year or so. It's progressively got worse. It's got to the stage where he now needs an operation, and he will actually be out for 3 months.
Okay. Is that not reconstruction 3 months then, just a...
No, it's not reconstruction, it's just a strengthening of the shoulder. Okay. But similar to what Gareth Moore had at the start of the season, similar.
He's been a key player for you over the last 12 months, Nigel. That's a big blow for himself and for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big blow. It was great to have him come back from our point of view from the World Cup. He's a key player. He's somebody that we've invested heavily in over the last couple of years, and somebody that you want available to you now, really. So it's a blow. Having said that, obviously Rob McCusker is still available, Ben is available, we've got Richie Pugh and Johnny Ed, we've got a couple of young 6s, 8s who we're working with and trying to accelerate their development, who are coming through, and we'd probably see them start in the LV encounters in a couple of weeks' time. So we've got some depth there. It's a little bit of inexperience at the moment, but we're working hard to develop that experience quicker.
Aaron Shingler showed up well on the weekend, Nigel. You must be pleased with his performance.
Yeah, Aaron's a great athlete. He's got a real attitude about him, real hunger for the game. He works hard, and probably definitely the best passage of play in that game. But he showed his attributes as much as he's got a real aggression. He's athletic. He can do the work of a second row. He can do the work of a midfield player as well when he has to in those areas. So somebody that we're very excited about. A bit of a special player, and we're working hard to bulk him up. He's put 5 kgs on already, and he's only going to get bigger and stronger, and he's got the natural base to be able to do that, and he's capable of anything really.
Second row, is that where you'd see him? Because he's obviously played back row as well.
Yeah, second row, we're trying to work him into that second row position. He can always go to the back row, but really we see him as a second row in our setup here.